Hey guys, welcome to my newest video for today, February 4th. There's one thing I wanted to do differently this year, is I watch certain movies, particularly film series, I like the blah blah blah. I'd like to review them. So far I've only watched one. I'm in the middle of watching 4 of them, which are Nightmare on Elm Street, Godzilla, James Bond, and Star Trek. And I thought I'd review the one that I have finished, so I'll just turn the camera around and show you what it is. And that, of course, is the Psycho series of 4 films, including the documentary, The Psycho Legacy. I'm going to start off my review with this, which is an extremely well done documentary. I kind of wish it was as long as Never Sleeps Again, which is of course 4 hours, but this was a really good one. Like, there's the names of everybody they talk to, so like everybody from Robert Loggia, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Olivia Hussey, Henry Thomas, all of them who worked on the film or behind the film. So though it's kind of hard to do but I have to say, it's kind of hard to do a documentary when, unfortunately, half of the people in front of the camera and behind the camera of the first film have unfortunately passed away. This goes into pretty good detail about everything from the 4 movies with everybody who worked on them. And all that. I'm kind of disappointed they didn't get Meg Tilly to talk about Psycho too, but yeah, it was a really good documentary. I knew the minute that this was announced I was going to buy it, because I'm a huge fan of the Psycho series, and I'd like to know a little bit about the behind the making of. So, not a really good review of it. Better one on my first video, but it's having problems, so I didn't even bother. So yeah, if you love the Psycho movies and like horror film documentaries in general, I definitely recommend this. This is a good set, particularly what's on disc 2, because they actually have like a panel where Anthony Perkins talks, and there's a lot of times where he apologizes because it seems like he keeps going on and on and on, but I don't think any of the fans were caring. They just wanted to listen to him talk. So yeah, that's the Psycho Legacy. And of course we move on to Alfred Hitchcock's classic, which came out in 1960, so 51 years ago. And that's insane. This is not only one of the best horror films, but one of the best movies made, period. It's got everything you could hope for. Great cast, led of course by Anthony Perkins, who I still think should have got an Oscar nomination for his role as Norman Bates. He was absolutely fantastic, and it's kind of bad because, well, there he is right there. He was so fantastic in this movie that he basically was typecast for the remainder of his career. He passed away in 1992, so you think of it, basically 32 years, he never shook the shadow of Norman Bates. Because I've seen some of his movies before Psycho, and he was like, you know, total romantic leading man and all that, and worked with Gary Cooper and Henry Fonda in some films. So it's kind of sad because he had such tremendous talent, and of course, I don't want to say that this screwed it up for him, because he did become more famous for this because of his role, but in hindsight, it kind of did, but, whatever, he gave us a absolute fantastic character to both love and be scared by. And of course, to me, this is Alfred Hitchcock's best film. I had seen this back in 1992. Actually, it was just around the time that Anthony Perkins passed away. I was just getting into Hitchcock's films. I had just seen North by Northwest and To Catch a Thief, which I thought, to a 12-year-old, was fantastic. So my parents rented me this, and I thought it was actually quite boring until they got to the motel. And of course, to a 12-year-old, the shower scene was the most scariest thing I'd ever seen with that music. It was just utterly scary. And even now, 21 years, almost 20 years since I seen it for the first time, I can not take a shower without having the door locked. I couldn't take a shower. I had to take a bath for 2 months after I saw this the first time. It just scared the absolute shit out of me. Because Bernard Herrmann's score, you can also say, like John Carpenter's score to Halloween, it would literally raise the hairs on the back of your neck and send chills down your spine. This has, I know I'm rambling, but I'm sorry, guys. This has an absolute fantastic story. It keeps you guessing till the very end. Great directing, great acting, and great score. Also, not only is my favorite film ever made, but you're also looking at my second favorite film of all time. So, yep, sorry about the ramble, but you know what? It's Psycho. You have to ramble for quite a long time about this movie. So yeah, that's Psycho. And of course, I have the triple feature because it was the only way to get this. So at the time, I did not have a Region free DVD player, and the only way you could get this was buy this or get it on Region 2. Psycho 2 came out in 1983, and you did have a very, very hard feat of, you know, basically doing a sequel to the greatest horror film ever made. Richard Franklin, who directed Road Games and one of my favorite kids movies, Cloak and Dagger, directed this, and he did a fantastic job with a script by Tom Holleran, who went on to direct Fright Night and Child's Play. It had a really great cast, brought back Vera Miles from the first one. And also, I don't know if not a lot of people don't know this, but Jerry Goldsmith actually did the score to this, and it was really good. So, yeah, it was. I think it's one of the, out of all the horror film sequels, this is one of the absolute best. So, I would definitely recommend watching this one. Psycho 3, which came out in 1986, actually also had the film, or directorial debut by Anthony Perkins. There is some good things, but there is mostly a lot of bad things. The main thing is it's more of a remake than the remake itself. But between the two, I would prefer watching this over the remake. But yeah, when you watch it, you realize you're basically watching a remake of the first film. Though it's got a pretty good cast, especially Jeff. What's his name? Jeff Farley, I think. Well, you know him right there. He was in it. He was pretty good. Score was a little strange for me, but I actually liked it. It went too much. Well, this had some gore in it, but this had more. But it has one of the greatest. Like the shower scene has a really good kill, which is of course the phone booth scene. And yeah, it's kind of neat to keep them giving Norman a girlfriend after so long. But it's a pretty good one. It has a lot of faults, but like I said, I prefer watching this over the remake any day. And of course, we have Psycho 4: The Beginning, which came out in 1990. It was a made-for-TV thing. It's kind of bad because I think it would have been a pretty good. I wouldn't say a huge box office hit, but I'd say a modest one. The sad thing about this is the fourth and final time we would see Anthony Perkins play Norman Bates, because, like I said, he died in 1992, 2 years after this was made. This one was directed by Mick Garris, who's directed a lot. I think he's directed a few of the Stephen King television adaptations. I mostly know him for directing Critters 2, which I loved. This is a great sequel, not only a great sequel, but prequel at the same time, because you go back in the show, they show Norman's childhood with his mother, played by the very talented and very beautiful Olivia Hussey, who of course we all know from excuse me, Black Christmas and Romeo and Juliet. And of course we have Henry Thomas playing young Norman Bates, and I thought he was fantastic as Norman Bates, trying not to imitate Anthony Perkins while he does it. And of course, we all know Henry Thomas from E.T. and Cloak and Dagger. He was 18 when he did this, and you could tell, though he was still a teenager, this was to me his transition from a child actor to an adult actor, and I thought it was fantastic. So I've always been a fan of his, and anytime he's in something, I always get a smile on my face. Yeah, and you had the cool thing of having Joseph Stefano come back and do the screenplay for this, which was fantastic. Damn, it doesn't have the guy who did the score, because this is the first time since the first movie is where the Psycho score and theme were put into play. I think, if I am right, Graham Revell. I've never been able to pronounce his name right, but he did the score to The Crow, one of the best scores ever. He did this, and I thought he was fantastic. I would say this and number 2 are the best sequels, and this is definitely worth it, because you get all 3 sequels into one pack. Though I don't know if the Region 2 has, the Region 2 of this has any special features, because I think all these have is a trailer for the first 2, this is 2 and 3, but yeah, and of course I don't know if they've actually tried to rebuild the Psycho house, because I think unfortunately it was one of the victims of the fire that happened at Universal a couple years ago. That also destroyed the King Kong attraction, and if I'm right, the clock tower in Back to the Future. So I don't really know if they've actually tried to rebuild it. I hope they did, because that's too devastating to know that a great piece of Hollywood cinema is gone. So yeah, I'm rambling, but you know what? I don't care. I told you guys I'm not really good at doing reviews, but I figure if I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna ramble. Whatever. And you guys can give me pointers on what to do and what not to do. So, yeah, there we go. So there we are, the Psycho series with the Psycho Legacy. Don't know which one will be next, because like I said, I'm watching Nightmare, Star Trek, James Bond, and Godzilla. So whichever one is finished, that will be the next review. So I hope you guys like this. Sorry about the rambling on, but you know what? I like rambling. So that's it. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Watch a shitload of movies, and of course, as always, rate, comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.